Hey everybody, this is Dark Guardsman, and we're back here with more development testing in progress. So I have been going through all the explosives today and working on them and cleaning them up and fixing them. As you know from last episode, there was a few issues, and effectively we crashed after testing the endothermic and realizing that everything was broken. We didn't get a chance to test any of the explosives afterwards, so I'm going to go ahead and test those and talk about exactly what happened. So with the endothermic, the bug was incredibly super simple. Effectively, when I went to go place the snow layers into the world, so as most of you know, with the endothermic, it places snow and ice everywhere when it works. This one was trying to place a snow block, then applying a snow layer to it, and when it went to go apply the layer, it was actually crashing the game because the snow block doesn't have layers, it's the snow layer block that has layers. It's very confusing, but Minecraft has these little quirks in it that end up inevitably causing problems when we're actually testing. So we'll go ahead and test this real quick and show that it is actually working. I have yet to get the renders done. This is something I may actually start working on tonight. Hopefully get a chance to stream it. I don't know, it's a 50-50 if we actually stream or not. But this should actually do something. There we go, lifting blocks up, causing a nice little explosion. I think the snow placement effect still does need a little bit of work. As we'll probably see here, it will probably not actually place any snow. It does actually lift the blocks up. Those will eventually come back down. It actually did place a little bit of snow, just not a huge amount, so this is something that probably will need to be tweaked, and it could just be because I placed it in a tree. We'll test it more here later, because the video is not the point of to repeatedly test these, just to kind of show off they are in somewhat of a working state. Anti-gravity does work. I actually did test this during the last stream we were doing, and I do know it actually does work. It's still a little finicky, of course. None of the renders are working for the entity items. This is something we'll end up picking up and working on, lifting a lot of blocks, causing tremendous amounts of lag. Best place to not do this would be the jungle. The jungle is already laggy on most systems, like we're doing 5 frames per second. And it is not being helped by the fact that I believe all these do actually try to render. I think these actually are trying to render blocks at the same time, and they're just failing, so it's actually killing the frame rate. This will be something that I definitely will work on and ensure that it does not kill frame rate. Of course, the anti-gravity does need a lot of work. Let me just really quickly kill this. I think even in the 1.7 version, it was not exactly the best system. And we just got a ton of blocks. So this is one thing with, like, as I talk about, the forest is not the best place for testing, because even like on my machine, just running normal OBS and running, I'm doing 20 frames per second. Let's see if we can wander a little bit of a distance. Picking large biomes to test in was probably not the smartest idea either for this. I was like, yeah, we'll pick a large biome, maybe we'll get a plains biome, is what the thought was, and I got my least favorite biome in Minecraft, which is the jungle biome. For those who have never watched me actually play Minecraft on a stream before, you'll know I actually will burn forests down because I do not like the jungle forests. They are incredibly laggy. Oh, we're doing 60 now. Now let's pick this spot to do some testing, because I think it's like the least doggiest spot in there. So do the ender explosion. Ender explosion still works roughly about the same as the last one. It does need still a little bit of tweaking in order to function fully, but it works. So we'll go ahead and set this off and see if it will actually teleport that squid. It might actually teleport us too. There was an expectation of teleporting squids there. Up, there it goes, and yes, we just got teleported into a wall. Hopefully, we're not too far away from that spot. That's a nice spot, actually. So yeah, that works. A little bit of a delay on there, and that's probably the calculations why it's trying to figure out where to teleport you to. So we'll do the hypersonic next. This one works rather well. It does need some buffing. The number of blocks it destroys is not very high. I remember in the old like 1.5 and 1.6 versions, its destructive power was much higher, and I think somewhere around 1.6 it got nerfed by Calclavia. Oh, I take it back. It actually did do some damage there. It's really trying to pick up a lot of those blocks, and it's just utterly failing. So maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. Maybe it's a sonic one that needs to work. Okay, so we're gonna test red matter, and first we need to do the nuke. The nuke was one of the ones that I knew was failing, and that was the one I just fixed and decided to make this video for. So we'll do the thermobolic first. The thermobolic and nuke are exactly the same code, and the reason why they were failing and the previous reason why in testing they weren't working is it was a precision error. So with the newer versions of Minecraft, you end up getting this object called a block pause. It's supposed to store 3 integers to tell you where your X, Y, and Z are in the world. So if you look at the coordinates, you get an X, Y, and Z where you're standing. and that stores where the block position is, and you use that to manipulate all the methods and everything. I switched over to that because I was like, you know what, we'll use a block pause with 3 integers and switch away from doubles to cut the memory usage in half on the large explosion algorithms, which would have been really cool because if you're setting off a lot of nukes on a server, you'll know the memory just starts to skyrocket after a while until the garbage cleaner picks it up, and it causes a lot of problems. So we switched to that, and I didn't think it through why I was updating the code because, of course, I was having a little bit of a cold going on. And I forgot that the way the code actually works is we take a position. We go, okay, we're going to start pathing from X, Y, and Z, and we're going to slowly work our way outward until we hit every block, until we hit the edge of the radius of the thing. This is the reason why you get circles like this, is the blast will actually take an energy path, and it will slowly move its way out until it runs out of energy. This is the reason why you get these jagged corners, is effectively it's run out of energy as it got that distance. What was happening is when we were adding that distance and we're using the block pause, so you would go to take a value of 1 and you would add 0.3 to it, well, it would round back down to 1. And then the next loop you would add 0.3 to it and it would round back down to 1. So effectively the position data was not moving. And I can actually show the code here, and it may help a little bit more understanding what I'm saying. So we were creating a position here, and at the bottom down here we incremented by delta. The delta is created by cosine and sine, so it's a bit of a rotation math done by 2 loops here. And this results in really small numbers. We're talking like 0.1s, 0.3s, stuff like that. And it would add down here, and it would round because we were using this object to store it. This can only store integers, so you can do like 1, 2, 3. You can't do 1.1, 1.2, and it's not possible to do that. But you have to have this method because every method uses it. See, block pause, is error, get hardness, you have to have the block pause, get resistance, you have to have the block pause. And then of course my results track by block pause because that's how you store the block, is when you get back to the nuclear explosion, it actually will go get the block, on block explode, and of course there's a block pause again. So I switched over to that because I was like, oh yeah, it would be kind of cool. We have to use it anyway so we can cut memory down. Unfortunately, now because of this, the memory usage is almost doubled. And it's actually about 50%. So it's, yeah. Anyways, let's get back to nuclear explosions because that's why you guys are probably here. You're here for the mathematical explanations of why things are broken. So the nuke's working and the thermal blocks are working. They both use the same code. Surprisingly, antimatter does not use this code. The antimatter just kind of does its own thing, which is really strange. So the nuke works really well, and of course we still need to get radiation blocks back at some point. I need to work on the animations. You notice you saw some particles pop up, but it doesn't look as beautiful as the old version. Yeah, let's do the red matter here. Actually, let's find another spot for the red matter. Red matter works flawlessly. It actually is working slightly better than the 1.7 version, and I haven't changed any of the code. This might just be how some parts of the Minecraft code have optimized over versions. Or it could just be dumb luck. But it sucks all the blocks up, destroys everything. Now, of course, there's no render and animation for it. This is something I still have to work on and end up adding, getting all the blocks to move and do their thing. But at least logically, it's all there, which is a really, really big thing. Because render code, it just takes time to do. Render code isn't difficult. It's just one of those time-consuming things. Logic, on the other hand, if logic is broken, it is not only time-consuming, but can be one of the hardest things to fix. Because then you're like staring at it going, okay, this code should do what exactly it's supposed to do, but it's not, and then you sit there and you have to debug it, and you have to do print lines, and you have to run a whole bunch of algorithms on it to see what it's doing. Render code, you can kind of visually see what's going on. That's working, and of course we're going to set off a antimatter here to kill off the red matter, and call that the end of this video. Antimatter's working flawlessly too. Of course I just got sucked in there and just knocked that out. Still very strange to think that the antimatter does not use the same code as the nuke, because the antimatter, the only thing that ended up breaking it was a single error check. It was checking if it was error rather than was not error. Even though I really shouldn't be checking for that, I should just be killing the blocks anyways. But yeah, it works really well. Nice, clean destruction. All the ores here. What ore is this actually? No, it's black quartz. So yeah, we're in pretty good progress. As all the explosions are now working. They're working really, really well. Once we get the render code down for the explosions, then we'll move on to the missiles, and you'll probably see in the next few days a video on the missiles running. And then we'll get the EMP towers up and the coordinators and everything else, and get all those renders set up for them, do all the multi-blocks, and we'll be done. There'll be a version released here, hopefully in a week or so.